So now that we've spoken about how to set up our campaigns from the campaign level, the ad set level, it's time to go through the final one, which is the ad level. So a quick recap on what each level actually means. The campaign is where everything is held and it decides the goal. What is the primary objective of why you want to run ads? For us is going to be to generate leads. Underneath that, you've got your ad sets, which are where you're picking your audiences. You get to decide here who's going to actually see your ads. And then the final level is the ad. This is when you're going to pick what are these people going to see and what are they actually going to interact with and click on. So when we're composing our ads, there's actually 5 areas that we're going to need to work with. The first is the creative asset. This is when you're pitching what is the physical video or the picture that our clients are going to be seeing. Next onto that is the primary text. You will often refer to this as the ad copy. This is pretty much just the paragraph that goes with the video or the image that you're showing. You've got the headline, which is kind of like your one-liner, your very brief description of what it is that the campaign's even about. This often sits underneath the ad creative. You've got a description or a destination, ULR. This is when you give like a bit more text under the primary text. We're not actually going to be using these on our ads because when you're running stuff on Facebook and Instagram, people's attention spans are crazy short, so we don't want to make it too long. Then the final thing is the call to action. This is when you're going to tell that person what you want them to do next. Click here to book now, get a quote, click here, and all that jazz. So just going over that basic structure, we're going to go ahead and jump into Meta Ads Manager. You will see your campaign set up here. You can click edit. And then remember, the folder means campaign. The 4 squares, that means your ad set. And the one underneath that is your ad, okay? This is what it will initially look like. Obviously, there's nothing here yet, which is why it's just like a generic template there. You've got your ad name. I always recommend naming this something to do with the ad creative. There's not like a set naming strategy I would do. If I had an image of a certain UGC creator speaking, I would call the ad UGC actor 1 or something like that. Or I would maybe write something about the hook of the video. So in here, I might put a line. I might say fast results or whatever the premise of the video is. Underneath that, you will see a partnership ad. We're not going to really use these for the type of ads that we're running, so you can ignore that. You've got your identity. You've got to make sure that obviously it's linked to the page that you want to be running the ad from, and then also the Instagram account. If you scroll down here, there's also a section which says single image or video, and then you've got carousel. I've ran thousands of different ads, right? Nearly every single time video is always the highest performing type of ad creative. When I say highest performing, I'm not necessarily referring to what ad is going to get us the cheapest leads, which sounds counterproductive, right? We should be wanting to get as cheap inquiries as possible for our clients. There's something to be said about the lead quality. If you're showing someone a single image or a carousel, which is a collective of images where they can like swipe through, at a glance, it is easy for someone to get the wrong end of the stick. They might interpret the ad of doing something that you can't actually do, or maybe it's literally opposite. Maybe it's so vague to the point they don't truly understand it. As a byproduct of that, the inquiries that you get from someone just glancing at stuff and having short context about things are typically not as good as if you were to compare it to an MC in a video or a reel. You know, as long as your hook's good and you're buying their interest, you might have 30 seconds to actually explain what it is that you do. You know, I kind of don't want our customers to understand exactly what it is that we do at a glance, because I want to see, can you be bothered to watch 15 seconds of this video so you're even clear on what it is that we're offering? That's going to be something which really improves your lead quality. So for that reason, always kind of recommend that we do video. Again, scrolling down, there's a section here about instant form. We're going to be going over what that is after this video. If you scroll down again, this is where we come in to the ad creative. You'll see a section that says add media. This is going to be the part where we're going to now add our video that we've done. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this, click add video, and we'll bring up the ads library. I can click, and I'll go ahead and upload my video actually into my account videos library, which is here. Don't panic if you don't see a video here before, because you need to upload it in here initially, and then I can just go ahead and click next. When I do that, there will be pop-ups to do the text. I don't like doing it in this section because it just feels rushed. We're going to break that down in a second. So you can just ignore that and click next. And then it comes onto a section here that says enhancements. Majority of the time, any enhancements that Meta's AI recommends are usually going to help you. This is definitely the case when we're talking about targeting things and the more technical aspects of the ad. One thing where it's just not there yet is things to do with the ad creative. So I would highly recommend turning all of these off, because I've had some absolute horror experiences when I was initially testing this, when I first started the agency. I had one client that we were just doing his videos and we weren't adding the music over, because we didn't want to get them with any other copyright or anything, or have any risk of the audio being stripped from our ads. So we used to just allow Meta to pick the music. And I've had clients complain to me at the get-go that we were putting "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" type of beat backdrops and the happy birthday songs on top of the videos, which obviously we're not doing, and there isn't a way of quality checking it, because it changes the audio that adds to the video depending on the client. And it was just an absolute nightmare. So, if you just follow the best practices that I've given you, you're not going to need Meta to enhance anything, because you're doing the best things anyway. One that you could use, which we're going to turn on anyway in a second, is text improvements. You don't have to have it on here. It just means when we write our ad copy, Meta's AI will show different variations of the text, which sometimes can improve performance. You can go ahead and leave that one on or turn it off. We'll do it in a second anyway. And go ahead and click done. There you go. You will see that our actual video has been uploaded. You can scroll down over here and see what it would look like on the Facebook feed and the Instagram feed. Really like that. It looks nice and slick. If you weren't happy with how it was cropped or how it looked for whatever reason, you could go ahead and scroll down on these and pick the placement where you don't like the look of it. So let's pretend we didn't like the look of how it looked on the Instagram story here. You can go ahead and click edit. And then there's a section in there where you can go crop and trim. And then they will give you a couple of options. You can pick the original or a different format, and then you can pull it and crop it, and that will change how much it's zoomed in, etc. So now that we've gone ahead and uploaded our video, it's time to talk about the ad copy. The word ad copy just means the writing on your adverts. I don't know why it's called that. I think it's confusing, but that's the definition. And ad copy is broken down into 4 stages. The first stage is the primary text. This is the main bulk of text, which is going to be next to your advert. The next one is the headline. This is your statement piece, usually just one bold sentence positioned next to the call to action, telling that person what you want to do next. Next, you've got the headline. This is just a 1-sentence, very bold statement piece used to capture someone's attention that maybe hasn't watched the video. Then you got the description. The description is picture it like a sub-paragraph under your primary text. We're not going to be using that for ads. Gone are people's attention spans where someone is going to stop and read through 2 massive chunks of ad copy. If it looks too big and overwhelming, you're essentially asking people for a lot of time. They're not going to want to do it, and they probably won't read any of it as a byproduct. So I think ads should be short, so I don't use description. And then you got your call to action. You've seen these all the time. These are just little buttons that say click here, and they tell you what to do next. So when creating ad copy, you always want to start with the most important part first, which for us is going to be the headline. The headline is fundamentally the most important bit of your ad copy, because people will always read that bit. People are probably not going to read this big chunk of primary text. They're just scan it. The headline is what we can use as a hook to draw people's attention. A good headline should just clearly highlight what is the main benefit or the offer of this advert, of this video that you're trying to get people to watch. And this is usually paired with the call to action. So next to the headline or underneath, it's going to tell you what it is you should do next, which for us is normally going to be booking that consultation or getting that free call. Some good examples of what I think good headlines are: you should be highlighting these offers. So for example, if we were having a £250 saving on an aesthetics treatment, we would have £250 lip filler voucher / free consultation. So they know the main benefit, and then they know what they're actually signing up for. The next thing could be you highlight the main benefit, the dream outcome of the client. So get your teeth straight in 30 days / free consultation about that. Or if it was something to do with finance where they can compare options, you might say something like free whole of market search / free consultation. You get the gist. So if I go ahead and jump back into Ads Manager, if I scroll down, I will see the part of our ad creation where we can enter the ad copy. I'm going to go straight into the headline. I'm going to type in, what's a good headline? This 50 plus lenders rate check. 50 plus lender rate check. And then I could put free patient. There we go. So that's just really clear, highlighting our offer and telling people what it is that we're actually going to give them. If we scroll across to the right, you'll be able to see it. There's the headline. That's where it would appear right next to that call to action, as we said, 50 plus lender rate check, free consultation. Cool. I'm happy with that. So now that we've ticked off the headline, it's time to move on to the primary text. And this is that big paragraph. Now, you will hear loads of old school marketers tell you how important the ad copy is in the primary text. It is important, and obviously it's hard to generalize what is the most important thing because different people are taking information in different ways. Of course, we want to use this to our benefit, but again, I've tested so many different types of ad copies and ad creatives and all these things, and what I've found is it definitely impacts the ad negatively if you wrote even an amazing ad copy, but it's too long. Big chunky paragraphs in a world where people's attention spans are destroyed are just going to damage your ad. Like, if it looks overwhelming to read, I think all my days it's going to cost me more time. I'll just completely skip past it. So for me, good ad copy is short, clear, and bullet pointed, and you should use some emojis so these people can understand exactly what it is that you want to do. You're essentially trying to make this massive paragraph, giving more context about what it is that you're offering, scannable, so they can focus on the more important things, which are the headline and actually watching the video. Something which supports my theory: TikTok ads are very, very, very similar to running meta ads, and they can also be great. These guys have no primary text options because it's all about fast, fast, fast. And you know, you can see how successful TikTok's been in the last few years. So I would give this the bronze medal behind the actual video, the headline, and then this. So before doing this for yourself or even a client, you will remember that we always get that client questionnaire returned to us, which highlights exactly what it is that our client is doing, who's it for, what's their avatar's dream outcome, and what are their selling points. So I've created an AI prompt for you that you can chuck straight into ChatGPT. Your job is to fill out the sections that I've wrote here in green, which you could do just by combining the questionnaire, or you might manually have to do this. I know, in an AI prompt, you've got to do manual work. Crazy. But if you can fill out those parts, if you literally just copy paste this into ChatGPT and slap enter, it will generate you some really good ad copy. I'll show you a quick example of how it performs. This is stuff that I use for my clients. Because not only does AI make everything so much more time efficient, it actually does it better than any type of ad copy that me and you could write. So I'll just go ahead and type in the ad prompt. Like I said, you do want to fill out this bit, use this information to build the ad, and that's what you should be doing before. But let's pretend you want to even be crazy lazy. The results that I can do is pretty good. So I could do one. So my client is Cobi Finance. He is a finance broker. Offering people bridging. Why can't I type? Bridging finance, where they can compare their rate against 50 plus lenders in the UK to see if we can improve their deal. Right, and I literally like awful prompt, yeah? But because I've done so much of the hard work for you here, boom, look at what it's going to give us. That is literally bang on. You don't need to include that bit at the bottom. That's amazing, right? So it's a big paragraph. It explains what we do. It's really clear. It's got some emojis, so you can do it at a glance. That is bang on what we need. So don't overcomplicate this. Obviously, that's the real lazy way of doing, which I don't recommend. You spend some time filling that out, and you give it a better prompt than even what I've just given it there. You're going to come up with something really good. So when you're happy with that, you can pop back in to the ads manager, and if you scroll up, that primary text, click paste, boom, we've got it locked in. And that looks really slick. So yeah, don't be afraid to be lazy. If you're using AI, that's the best way to probably get the best results because that is fully optimized. So once I've pasted that in here, if we scroll down a little bit, you will see there's a section that says Advantage Plus Creative Text Generation. Now, Meta is good at finding what is the best thing to do without us. Like I said, it's not quite there for the ad creative, but let that algorithm do its thing. I always recommend turning this on. You can go ahead and click this toggle here. It says tailored variations to persons. This means it will show different types of ad copy to different types of people dependent on their behaviors, and it will give you 5 other variations. So obviously make sure you go ahead and check these to make sure you're not saying anything crazy, especially when it's on behalf of your client. But 9 out of 10 times, these are going to be awesome and just give you different types of angles that, we could have got from an AI prompt or things that maybe you wouldn't have even thought of. And it knows what to do by itself. Remember, Advantage Plus is when you're giving the algorithm freedom to make data-driven decisions and push out what it thinks is working best. That would save you absolutely hours of time of doing data analysis, and also it predicts. And it's always stacked in your favor, because Meta's always, if you're in a boat where you say Meta, go do your thing, it's always going to benefit you because it wants your campaigns to go well. It wants you to spend more money. So that's a little hack that you can use to make sure that you're writing some good ad copy. If you didn't want to use Meta's recommended ones, obviously you could make different variations of it in ChatGPT, or you could literally custom do your own ones. But I found the best way to get results, and also in a time efficient way in terms of me buying out the client's ad, is just to do this. So another buzzword that you've probably heard in marketing lingo all of the time is something called a CTA, or the abbreviation for a call to action. The call to action is pretty much that button next to the ad which says, what should I do next? You're telling that person where to go after they like your advert. 9 times out of 10, we're always going to select this option that I've put on the right, which is book now, because the type of ads that we should be doing if we're doing lead gen are getting people to sign up for free discovery calls or free consultation calls. If you're telling them to book in now and your ad is very clear and your ad copy is very clear, that is about booking a consultation, it makes sense for them to want to click there and book their consultation, right? The only other one that I would pick other than book now is something like get quote. If you were doing it for, I don't know, someone that does kitchen and bathrooms, you say, hey, we want to bring your dream kitchen to life, click here if you want to get, and we'll reach out to you to give you a quote. That might be the only other time. But yeah, all of these, some of them can be good. The ones I've had best performance with is simply book now. In terms of selecting that in Ads Manager, we scroll down slightly lower. Oh, look at that. See, sometimes this is a good point. Sometimes when you turn Advantage Plus and Creative Text Generator on, we only want to use that typically for the primary text. I don't recommend using it for the headline, because the headline needs to there's only one main selling point, and that's what you should be talking about in the headline. So I'm going to be turning these off. So if you scroll down, we've got that call to action thing here. You only want to be touching get quote or book now already for best results. Underneath the call to action, there is a section at the very, very bottom which talks about tracking. You can completely ignore this. We're going to be tracking our stuff in a different way, linking it to a different CRM system that you will see in later videos. In terms of the tracking, like if you guys did do your own research on this stuff, like don't deep it too much. There was a massive update done a good few years back now called the iOS 14 update, which is when kind of Meta and Apple are at war. And it pretty much said, hey, if you're using a Apple product, which is, the majority of people have an iPhone, yeah, it makes it a lot harder to track off-platform events. So if you wanted to track someone becoming a lead by filling out a form in a landing page, in terms of actually seeing the metrics recorded on that on a Meta ad, it wouldn't be that accurate. This is why people in e-commerce, people that are selling products online, the reporting in terms of what Meta can do from ad standpoint is not that accurate. I don't recommend using this stuff because I can show you not only easier ways, but accurate ways as well. So things to bear in mind when you are writing your ad copies is you need to make sure that you're not going to get this person's ad account disabled. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to let loose and write whatever you want. It can be quite sensitive because Meta always reviews the ad copy. And what sucks for us, it's not a person that views it, with context related to the video. It is done by an algorithm, it's done by a robot. So these are some of the best practices that you should be avoiding if you don't want to be getting your clients' accounts disabled. First off is you want to make sure that you're not using you statements. Don't make it personal, like saying things like, are you struggling with debt? You want to avoid misleading or exaggerated claims. Guaranteed results. We're 100% beat your rate, get rich fast. Obviously, that is not true. You've got to be quite careful of how you show before and afters. This is also to do with ad creatives, but definitely don't do language which is associated to these crazy transformations. No financial or health promises. You're better off saying stuff like you could improve, you may improve. We often see, you don't want to say you absolutely will improve because again, this is unrealistic and would get flagged. Keep your grammar professional. Don't be writing stuff all in caps. That's a really petty way to get ad accounts disabled. So just write it in a professional way. Use ChatGPT to do all of the grammar. Make sure that you're using real pictures and branded visuals. Don't use stock images. A lot of these have copyright, and if that's flagged, your ads will get disabled. And then always make sure it's linked to a proper website. And if you can, try and link the text. Make sure that the stuff that you're saying in the ad matches the stuff which is being said on that person's landing page or website. So there we have it. Go ahead and get stuck into making some cool ad copies for your clients. Be lazy, but smart. Use the AI. It's there. It's the world's smartest thing. So use it on your team for sure. The bit that we're going to be going over in the next video is an instant form. This is when someone clicks on your ad and then a form is going to pop up, and it's going to be how you capture their details. Really, really important. So when you're ready to move on, let's jump into it now.